After a series of impressive mid-range launches, this is Motorola's main event. This is the Motorola Edge 50 Ultra. It seems to be a very interesting phone, and for today's video, I am working with Motorola to show you what is it that they've actually brought to the table. Now, if this is your first time here, or in case you just can't remember, my name's Ash, you're watching C4E Tech, and let's get started. The box, it's a little different from the rest of the Edge 50 series phones. For their Ultra, Moto's gone with a black box, something they usually reserve for their Razr series. Once you open up the box, you're greeted by the Moto fragrance and of course the phone itself. Now to the top, they've got this pull tab, and this gets you the black insert which houses your regular informational material, SIM tool and a transparent hardshell case. Now coming to the Edge 50 Ultra, this SKU that I've got is the Nordic wood. It's made of recycled polycarbonate with a wooden texture. It feels nice, but if it's not your cup of tea, there's black and fuzzy peach with vegan leather. Digging further into the box, we've got a USB Type-C to Type-C cable, and finally a 125 watt charger. Now using this charger, you should be able to get an 80% charge in just 15 minutes, a full charge in about 20. There's also support for wireless charging at up to 50 watts and reverse wireless charging at up to 10 watts if you say want to charge your Buds Plus. Now on my call with Motorola, once we got to the battery part and they told me 4500 mAh, I was kind of conflicted because it doesn't feel right, does it? Because for a phone meant to be a flagship, at least 5000 mAh should be the minimum. I mean, that's what I told them, but I'm talking to a brand. So of course they tell me our optimizations are great. It will perform better than other phones with 5000 mAh battery from a competitor. And then they said something very interesting. They told me to test it for myself, which is what every brand says. But then they also said, check out third-party independent reports that are already out, like GSM Arena. And when I looked that up, this I found interesting. Just see this. At the very least, I'm sure you'd find this interesting. Now, of course, I'm gonna have to do my own testing to draw conclusions, but in the limited time I've spent with this phone so far, the battery life has been promising. Now this also means Motorola has been able to go with a very comfortable form factor. The back, the display, the curve at the edges. The 50 Ultra, it's only 8.6 millimeters thick to begin with, but it feels slimmer. It's also amongst the narrowest phones I've tested in recent times with a width of just 72.4 millimeters. So it's very easy on the hands. The frame, beat it up, it's metal. There's an IP68 rating for water and dust resistance. There's support for Bluetooth 5.4, 17 bands of 5G, NFC, Wi-Fi 7, which is pretty rare. The USB port, it's USB 3.1 Gen 2, so up to 10 gigs. That's the display port 1.4 standard 2, so you can output to an external monitor. The Indian unit can take 2 physical nano SIMs. There are stereo speakers which sound excellent with spatial sound and Dolby head tracking. So basically, Motorola's thrown everything at this phone. Seems like they are shooting for a very premium experience. Anyways, coming back to the build, the camera array, it looks similar to what we saw on the Edge 50 Pro. It kind of melds into the back, but the sensors, they've changed. We now have a 50 megapixel primary, a 1 by 1.3 inch OV50H that's paired with an optically stabilized f1.6 lens. And a good light, this camera performs fine, images are detailed, wide aperture means natural blurring, good bokeh, the colors are on point, and the dynamic range in particular I found impressive. Now Motorola provides you 2 color profiles, natural and auto enhance. If you want a slight saturation boost, you can choose auto enhance. So you can either keep things natural or go for the slight saturation boost. Now even under low light, this sensor, it performed well. The OIS helps, images seem detailed, noise levels are kept low, at least in my initial impressions. With video, you can shoot 4K resolution, 60 FPS, and the footage is quite stabilized. There's also a laser assist to help quickly switch focus, and other regular Motorola features like spot color for video and horizon lock to let you lock your camera in one position. They're also present and accounted for. Now moving on, we have another 50 megapixel sensor for the ultra wide from Samsung this time. This gets you a 122 degree field of view. The lens has support for autofocus, meaning you can shoot macros like this. Not just stills, it even lets you shoot macro video, which is nice. The third sensor is 64 megapixels, the OV64B. It's paired with an optically stabilized 3x telephoto lens. The images it shoots, they turned out crisp, there's decent dynamic range, but here's a little twist. As you keep zooming in, the Edge 50 Ultra is going to be using AI to better the shots. Now to test this out, I took a bunch of 3x shots and a bunch of zoomed in 100x shots. So what you're seeing here are side-by-sides of the 100x AI tampered shots from the Edge 50 Ultra and 3x shots that I've manually zoomed in to match. So the difference in detail that you see here is what the AI is bringing to the table. So what do you think? Good, bad? You can't really see a difference? Let me know in the comments. Now for selfies, Motorola has gone with another 50 megapixel Samsung sensor paired with an f1.9 lens this time. It's pretty wide, it has autofocus and does a fair job with edge detection and detail. Note that you can shoot 4K footage via this selfie camera too. Now circling back to that AI, that seems to be a big selling point for Motorola here. The regular camera results, Moto claims, the colors, the segmentation, they have AI helping out for that as well. Now the Edge 50 Ultra runs on Hello UI built on top of Android 14. There are very few preloaded apps like LinkedIn which can be uninstalled. As always, the interface is pretty fast and responsive. Motorola promises 3 years of Android version updates and 4 years of security patches. And this time they've built in some generative AI features too. For example, there is Style Sync, which lets you take a picture or choose one from your gallery and generates a wallpaper based on that pattern or style. We've seen this before on the Edge 50 Pro, but this time around Motorola also provides Magic Canvas, which lets you generate wallpapers based on your text prompts. It's actually pretty cool. Here are a few images I ended up generating. Interesting, right? You get to create something unique for yourself, kind of customize your phone to your own liking, and I like it. Now moving on, we also get Smart Connect, an upgraded version of Ready For. This lets you do a variety of things, right from mirroring your phone onto your laptop, to using your phone with the laptop's keyboard and mouse, to being able to get a virtual landscape interface to control your phone from your laptop, or just casting a single app onto your PC. Like see here, app on phone, now app on laptop. There's just so much Motorola allows you to do here. If you'd like to see me do a dedicated video on Smart Connect, do leave a comment. Now all this is made possible thanks to the solid SoC on the inside. The Edge 50 Ultra is powered by Qualcomm Snapdragon 8S Gen 3. There's only one SKU for India this time, 12512, LPDDR5X and UFS 4.0. While we've seen this SoC in action on quite a few devices so far, I was really curious to see how it performs here given how sleek Motorola's build is. I was curious to see how the 8S Gen 3 held up under duress. And it did okay. It retained 70% of its peak performance after 20 minutes of the GPU being continuously pushed. While it's not the best, taking into account the form factor, I think it's acceptable. Now the display here, it's a 6.67-inch Gorilla Glass Victus covered POLED panel. The resolution is 1220p or 1.5K. It's a 10-bit panel with 144Hz refresh, and Motorola's got the usual Pantone validation too. The brightness, it peaks at 2800 nits, but that's for HDR. Even under auto mode, this panel output over 1600 nits. So the Edge 50 Ultra is very easy to use outdoors. And talking about the display, given the IP68 rating, it makes sense for Motorola to add Smart Water Touch, which lets you use this panel with wet hands. So overall, it looks like Motorola has put together a nice little package with the Edge 50 Ultra. This phone starts at 59,999. There's a 5,000 rupee discount early on and an additional 5,000 off via bank offers, which should bring the effective price down under 50,000. Do you think everything that's on offer here is worth that asking price? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Ash out.